Welcome to Uxbridge Beat, the podcast where we feature the who's who of Uxbridge, Ontario. My name is Scott Campsell.
And I am Jennifer Neville-Campsell. Local musicians Dave Chester and Sheila-Marie Richardson own and operate the beautiful Chalet Studios located in Claremont, just south of Uxbridge.
Set in the beautiful countryside, the Chalet aims to provide artists with a retreat in which they can escape their regular lives and create their work. Dave and she run the facility, which has housed both aspiring artists looking to start their journey, as well as some really big-name artists.
Canadian band Rush was the first big name to really put the Chalet on the map. In today's episode, Dave and she share with us some of the story of the Chalet, the artists, and some behind-the-scenes adventures.
While Dave and she are the heart behind Chalet Studios, let's find out what puts the beat into each of their musical hearts.
We're so happy that you have agreed to be on this podcast with us. Tell us the origin story.
Take it away, Dave.
Okay. Well, I'm a musician, and Sheila-Marie's a musician too. How we got together was I asked her in grade 10, and she said, no, I just want to be friends. So we went our separate ways.
You didn't even try for to
No, I was relieved.
her?
It's like, okay, because I was so nervous making the telephone call. So I thought, okay, I know where I stand. I'm out. Great. I can get on with my life again. So
this was grade 10 at Uxbridge Secondary School.
Yeah.
So we moved up from Scarborough. Both of us moved up for the grade 9. So we went to USS and we were friends. And then I still remember that call. It's like, sorry, Dave.
So she went to be a teacher and go through all sorts of experiences. And I was on the road with different bands and Z-Beck and Jetlag and Tremor, and thought, yeah, I think I might like to have a business where I don't have to be on the road so much. So, and I had recorded a number of different studios. I went to York to study music in between everything, but I decided to set up a recording studio. I was basing it basically on the model of the studio, which is a studio in Morin Heights, and it was
North of Montreal.
Yeah, North of Montreal area, and it was one of the most famous studios in the world at one time. Like pretty much anybody you can imagine had recorded there, like Sting and
Elton John and Bee Gees,
everybody.
The whole.
So I love that concept of being in the country, inspired by nature, and you can stay and you can just immerse yourself in creativity. So I thought, gee, it'd be great to have that sort of idea in north of Toronto. So I searched around, originally in Caledon area, but it was really too expensive. But I found this property, and I knew this area, having grown up, kind of close by. So I found this property through my brother actually showed me, and I thought, oh my goodness, this would be perfect. And this area was sort of in the boondocks, particularly then, and so it was relatively affordable. And so I started in 1985, so this is 40 years ago. And engineers that I had worked with in the city, like David Ballin, who engineered Kent Tobias, and Everett Ravestein, they helped me kind of put things, get going with the equipment, and we started right away. What
was originally here for a building?
So the original building, as we talked about earlier, was the Chalet room. And when I went down to the panel, I saw a Chalet, and I thought, oh, that'd be a good name for the studio, just called Chalet Studio.
But did it look like a chalet?
It's it's like a viceroy kind of chalet.
Yeah, with a peaked roof, kind of just. I guess that's why they called it chalet. Yeah, because it was the original building.
So that was the original building back in the 60s, I think, and then other owners in the 70s kind of built a sort of interesting, sort of rounded section.
The curved section.
I came in 86 and built this control room. I came in 85 and 86. I built this control room. The original one was a lot smaller, and we've been making lots of music. So hundreds of musicians have.
And you lived here from 86 to 89, 85 to 89.
I'd be on the road a little bit, but I was here, and it was a residential studio, that just like in the studio, so people would stay here. And my engineer at the time, Everett Ravestein, and I said, we got to get a big band that'll put us on the map. So we thought, what bands kind of like the residential studio concept? They're huge, maybe Canadian, that we could get up here. And so we came upon the idea of, let's see if we can get Rush to come here. So we worked on them. We finally got a meeting with a fellow named Val Zoli from Goose Arista. At the time, they were sort of the U.S. counterpart, and they said, well, that might work. They kind of liked it, but your equipment is completely wrong, and you have to do all these different changes, and we're still not going to guarantee anything. So I took a risk and got the gear, remortgaged everything, and it was a gamble, but luckily they came. And they came for 4 times. They would come for about 3, 4, or 5 months at a time.
The first was in 1989, January 89.
Yeah.
And so you had to move out at that point. We weren't together at that point.
No,
yeah.
So
we just got together right when Rush came in. Yeah.
So I moved out.
So that was the deciding factor. We're going to be friends, but now you're friends with Rush. So,
She's a user.
There you go.
I forgot that part. I was living here, and then I had dogs at the time that unfortunately aren't with me anymore. But I was walking on the road, and she'd be passing by on her way to teach at Pickering High School.
Yeah, I lived at my parents' place, so we'd see each other and have a little chat. And I'm thinking, he's a pretty nice guy. And we were 29 at that point, so. From grade 10 to 29.
A friend of ours, he
was living in the cabin. Anyway, he called me over and he said, you need to talk to Dave. You need to. Anyway, I ended up calling him for a donation for our music director at Uxbridge Secondary School, George Beer, who had passed away, and he had done all our musicals while we were there. And anyway, that was the beginning of our conversation. And he said, would you like to come see me play? At this bar in Bramley. Yeah. And sure enough, we went out and that was it.
The power of music, right?
Yeah, I fell in love starry-eyed. I hadn't seen him play since he was, grade 9 or 10 or whatever.
And you're a keyboard player.
I forgot you. She just had to sing.
That was it. It was the conductor.
Actually, it was the conductor.
That was the conductor.
That's right.
Yeah,
There you go.
Yeah.
There you go. That's anyway. So we got together, and but Rush was here. They lived here for 5 months the first time, and then every 2 years they came and wrote. So they would do all their writing in the chalet room. Neil would be in the far bedroom. He would be on his computer doing the lyrics during the day. And then the boys, Alex and Getty, would be in the chalet room doing the music.
Yeah, and we'd have a chef that would come in. And in fact, Azalea from Cafe 1806 was one time as our chef.
Azalea.
And she was great. In fact, Rush had to decide, she was so good because she used to work at Scaramouche, I think. And do you remember that Cafe 1806?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And it was like, do we take Zaley on the road with us or do we take our private jet? So they had to make that decision.
Wow.
She was that good.
Yeah. So that was always a challenge. And then we'd have, constant cleaning services and have an engineer. And then I'd have somebody just on hand to build things if they needed, because they would come up with these ideas.
They would do projects because they'd get bored, or the entourage the drum tech and the guitar techs, whatever. And my dad had a 1973 Dodge Diplomat station wagon, and it was like our decoy car. And they ended up it wasn't running, whatever. They said, could we do some artwork on it? So they totally trashed it.
It became the Hooterville Hauler.
That's what it was called. They wrote Hooterville Hauler, Hauler. They stuck a couple of mannequins out the back end and painted. Anyway, it was just, it was a riot. And we had to have it towed after, but it was no longer a decoy car. It was a, we're not here car.
Yeah. So, lots of stories. I mean, there's so many that we can't really talk about.
If these walls could talk.
The Hooterville Hauler is the cleanest, most vile.
That's what's going to make it on your
But the main thing was, just try to stay in business.
But then we got shut down. That was so we didn't live here. So this really was the first Airbnb that existed, certainly. I shouldn't say the first.
Not really, because people would rent out a cottage, but
not in Pickering. They wouldn't allow you to rent out your place on a temporary, a weekend or whatever basis. So when we added that other addition, so that we wanted the music portion to be subsidized by corporate people coming here as to do their corporate executive meetings, so small group meetings.
And what year would this have been?
98.
Okay.
Yeah, 98. Mm-hmm. So we had just put this new addition on. We added extra bedrooms. So we could sleep up to about 15 people. So they'd have their meetings in the chalet room where the music would happen, but everything was shut down music-wise. And the chef was still here. So it was just basically catering to the corporate people. But they could afford to pay what the musicians helped us keep the place afloat. And we were just starting to recoup on this addition. And the town of Pickering came in 2 years in a row for their own private meeting. And after the second meeting, this was 2001, they called and they said, "What side of the road are you on again?" And they knew, obviously, it's Pickering Township. And we said, "Yeah, we're on Pickering side, obviously." And sure enough, they said, "Well, you can't do this. You're not allowed to rent out your place like this. So you have to live here." And we were living in Uxbridge at the time. Anyway, so for how many years had you been doing it? And then they shut us down, thinking that we would take it to the next level probably. And, the taxes would have gone through the roof and there's no way we could have afforded it. Anyway, our world came crashing in.
So we had to move back.
So we moved back here.
From Uxbridge and moved back.
But there was great silver linings. And every day, though, for about 20 years now, we've said, are we staying? Are we going? Are we selling? Because we just didn't know how it was going to go. And at the beginning, we only had one kitchen, the main one. And the bands would be sitting there with our kids who were 7 and 9. It's like having breakfast with the bands. So anyway, we ended up putting the second kitchen in so that the bands would have their own privacy and then the separate entrances as well so they could use the bedrooms. But yeah, that was a real shocker. But my parents lived just down the road and the kids got on the bus and went to Uxbridge. And so they had a beautiful relationship with their grandparents as a result too. So there were lots of wonderful silver linings. In addition to being on this beautiful property, we're just so grateful and we're so happy to share it with people. So that's another, it's just so great to bring people out where they can relax and get creative. And
it's kind of a labor of love. It's a lifestyle. It's not.
We live with other people all the time.
My brother says, "I don't know how you guys do what you do. I could never do that. Living with people all the time. But that's what you have to do to kind of make this work. It's so challenging, right? It's
the music industry has changed so much.
It's fun and it's great and it's beautiful. That's the reward working with music, but it's just so hard.
So let's talk about the change in the music industry now. So if anybody with their own computer and setup at home can do their own recording.
Always could. With the little Radio Shack tape recorders, you could make a recording. And obviously the phones are a lot better for recording. But when you get to a certain level, you need compressors, you need microphones.
You need to get into the studio.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. For the quality.
As we were mentioning, a drum kit typically would take 16 microphones and mic pre's and compress, just for drums. And then every other instrument. It's just cheaper to come here rather than try to rent all that stuff and do it yourself. Plus, you have to have an environment that's not going to, you're not going to get interrupted. It's not going to be noisy. It's got to be good workflow. So that's how we can manage. We just had a band called the Glorious Sons in. They were in for 8 days or so.
Yeah.
And there were 10 of them.
10 guys and she. Well, all walking around everywhere.
She's the band mom.
I'm the band mother, yes.
So 6 in the band, 3 producers actually, and 1 videographer, and then plus all their management and whatever coming in and out. So for them, it was being in one spot where they could just focus and get the work done.
And use the sauna.
Yeah, it's a beautiful sauna. It's a beautiful sauna. So as the band mom, are you also full-time chef and bottle washer as well now?
No, thank goodness. I do get in to kind of tidy up. They weren't so bad. They actually had
they did their own meals.
They do their own. So they have their own kitchen in itself.
For the B&B, I do the breakfast. I kind of like to do that. But,
so we're a tag team. I'm the night owl and clean up at nighttime, and he's the morning person and gets up and serves the breakfast for the B&B clients. And the band, you're there
sometimes
for the bands.
And they've got the kitchen so they can do their own. Usually we recommend they bring in somebody to do the meals while they can, so they can focus on.
We're sad when they leave because if it's a long-term stay.
You really feel the energy go down after you've been living. It's an intense.
We had a fabulous band called Sedeza. They're from northern Saskatchewan. Dave produced them as well. This was a year ago in March. They just won an award. They won the Saskatchewan Best Album of the Year. Yeah. So look up Sedeza. Sedeze. It means little sister in Dene. It was a great experience. They had never been in a big studio before. It was their first real experience. And Dave did video for it as well, all the songs. So we used the property and actually the neighbor's property. They have a beautiful pond, and it was a great effort, and they did a great job. But just nurturing the young ones that come through, it's really rewarding. I feel like a mother again.
We're in the middle of 6 more songs with Paul Mingay, a local artist from the area who was in Toronto, but also up here, and a great songwriter.
Yeah, and we've had Julian Calland here, beautiful. Julian,
lots of Uxbridge,
your student, many.
So in addition to the music, you have a separate B&B business now.
Yeah.
So obviously
as well as sometimes they'll come together where the band needs to stay over.
Yeah.
But we have a separate B&B as well, because sometimes bands go on, they might be on tour in the summer, but that's a good time for B&B. It's busy for that. So it kind of works to have.
Yeah. So the non-musicians come, wedding guests, we call it Chalet Claremont for the B&B portion side of it. And often wedding guests, people coming into the area for a wedding will stay here. And we've had some honeymooners as well. It's been a great use of the space as opposed to just using the studio, and kind of subsidizes it as well.
It helps for us because we try to keep our rates. Like, in fact, the rates haven't changed much since when I started in 1985.
Wow.
So, but everything else has gone up. So, because musicians just can't afford it.
The payback is just so.
But we have tools now that we can do a lot in a lot less time now with the computers. It's amazing what you can do now. So we can do a lot for a smaller budget. Like back in the day when we started, a typical record budget would be $60,000. But now it's more like maybe $6,000. Like, it's totally different.
Yeah.
As a person who's done radio broadcasting now, I've gone to Seneca. Would that be...
That's right. You went back to school to study your broadcasting.
Yeah,
that's how all this started.
Yeah.
All the podcasting started. Yeah.
Good for you.
Yeah.
So, as somebody who's a learner, would you ever think of actually teaching? Do you actually, if there was somebody that was trying to get into the business?
Well, we've always had co-op students, and that's kind of the way we teach. We don't have any co-op students right now, but we had many co-op students have been here throughout the years. So we kind of teach in that way. But no, I feel like a student still. It's so expensive to run this place that I would get paid enough to be able to have this place and teach at the same time. Basically,
it'd be too time consuming from
it's like the taxes, the hydro, I have to be laser focused on just it's hard being a small business owner in this country right now.
Absolutely.
As you guys know.
Yeah.
And, things need to change. There's got to be more support. There's got to be more productivity. There's got to be more. We have to bring prosperity back in this country and that mindset. But anyway, that's a whole other thing. And I think we can do it. We're going through some major challenges right now. And I think we will be able to continue. It's 40 years for us. And I hope to see, I'm on the Freedom 95 plan. I hope to
really
another 30 years, maybe Drew will take it over, but it's challenging, right? So, so you have to be very, very careful. So for me, not now, maybe later I might. And also, I engineer, but I'm not the best engineer. I have better engineers that I hire here who that's all they do is they focus on engineering. So I kind of run the business, and I will engineer projects that I'd like to do. I have engineers that are far better than I am. They're amazing.
Finding an activity to do with your child that challenges and pushes you both to be better, that builds character, and is something you can learn together is a fantastic thing.
At Okamikai Martial Arts and Fitness, we thrive on positive feedback from our students, so you can just imagine how happy we were to hear from Jessica and her daughters as they gave their thoughts about our classes.
Classes are always fun, and I always learn something new.
Fun and learning, all while getting out and getting active. That's one of our goals, and according to these amazing ladies, we're doing our job and doing it well.
I see the excitement and the joy that they have to go to class to learn and improve.
Contact us today to find out what everyone is talking about. Our family can't wait to meet your family.
Okamikai is my favorite place to be.
Okamikai Martial Arts and Fitness. Check us out at okamikai.com.
Everything is my favorite thing to do in class.
Who's been your favorite band to have in? And why?
Oh my, after 40 years, what would
you say? Narrow it down to one favorite.
I mean, Bare Naked Ladies were really fun. Blue Rodeo, they were great. Rick Emmett, I love. We had opera singers, Misha Berger-Gossman. She was like interesting.
Just so many interesting characters. It would be hard to even pick
Rush put us on the map. No doubt about it.
We owe our reputation to Rush. Not reputation necessarily, but
they put us on. Yeah, we wouldn't be there for sure.
There's no way.
Are you still in contact with them?
Not really. No, I had to take on so much risk to get them here that I did not want to be hanging with them, because I thought if I did something that would jeopardize that. So I had my people in place, and it was all very, very business-like. So I don't have that kind of, even though we would say hi if I saw them, or but we don't have like a friendship relationship.
Although Getty, in his recent memoir,
he gave us
a nice shout out.
Mention in his book.
So that was lovely to know.
But they were all awesome.
Yeah,
I mean, each one was like great, like really interesting and different in their own way, and it was like. I had to pinch myself. I'd go outside I'd look at nighttime, and because often they would get, and Alex would be writing in the day, and then Neil would be writing in one of the bedrooms lyrics, and he'd come back at night. So I'd have my own Neil Peart drum concert, Yeah,
we were outside the window, and he had 28 snares lined up. Like they're like, it was crazy. But we were outside, he was in there practicing away, and Dave turned to me and said, we're getting to watch probably the best drummer in the world right now. So that was quite a moment. Yeah.
Different. Mike Reno recently, he was really nice. We've had Michael Sadler from Saga was doing some stuff with David Barrett we've had guitar workshops. That was a lot of fun.
And Crownlands. Well, Crownlands,
those guys
they won a Juno a couple of years ago for Breakthrough Group of the Year. They're like Led Zeppelin meets Rush, and they also know Rush. So they performed at Massey Hall with Alex and Getty. They were on stage, I don't know, last year, I think. Anyway, they're a fabulous duo and so talented. And just one lives in Uxbridge, actually, and their music is brilliant. And it's progressive rock, so it's kind of like the bebop of jazz, but the bebop of rock. It's been wonderful to watch their trajectory.
So you've had lots of positive, amazing things.
Yeah.
I know you've had some absolute disasters, though, too. What is something that you remember as, oh my gosh, I can't believe that just happened?
Oh, well, I was serving, as I think I was talking earlier, I was serving breakfast for a B&B group, then it was raining like crazy outside, and I went to the coffee room to get some coffee for them, and the water was just coming in like deluge
into the house.
Yeah.
And so that was
another time.
I'm going to be a little bit of give me a five.
Yeah, but they were on the other side. They didn't see through the door was shut to where all the water was coming in. Oh, another time, Rush was coming in 2 weeks. And I was standing where I could see the ceiling of the kitchen, but it looked like the ceiling was sagging. And I thought, oh my gosh, the ceiling's falling down in our kitchen, in the main kitchen. 2 weeks before they were to arrive, we had to rip the ceiling down. And it had, they used to put radiant heat in the ceiling in the 70s. Like, how heat rises, why would you put heat in the ceiling to start with? But I guess the coils had expanded and contracted the plaster ceiling, and it had just let go of the support. Anyway, that was a nightmare. That was and we managed to fix it before they got in. But the panic of, there was always something that would happen before Rush would come. Like there was always a major investment of some sort. And so we always only ever broke even.
We never made money. We just got better.
We just got better, and we were able to maintain that relationship.
One time I had George Oliver in.
The White Prince of Soul.
A great guy, actually. I really like George, but I haven't seen him in a while. But anyway, we were using 2-inch, like the old tape machines back in the day before all the Pro Tools. And I had an engineer who was kind of new, and he had brought in his whole band, and we were recording. We were a couple of days in, and they went for lunch, and the engineer changed the tape, put on the new tape, and then they came back to the afternoon, and he had just erased over everything that we did from the day before. So
man.
That was a
And
moment.
this is not like this is tape, right? So it was gone. I had to actually personally pay for every musician to come back and reimburse them for studio time and everything to redo all of that. So that was not the most fun thing, but anyway, we kept our goodwill, with George, and he was good about it. One story that kind of comes to mind: these group of ladies were going to come and stay at the place when we had all the bedrooms available, and they came in all on their moms on bikes, and it was like 25 Harley Davidsons all lined up. And they came in and they had a great time. And then another group said, well, we want to come here to do some nude sunbathing. Can we do that? Sure.
Did you check with Sheila-Marie first?
That's when we didn't live here.
Oh.
Yes.
But fortunately,
I don't think he made an
nothing
appearance that day,
went-
but I'm not sure.
We've had a band from Japan that came in.
They were lovely.
really
The Flower
nice.
Traveling Band. They were like the Beatles of Japan. They didn't speak, or a few of them spoke, the actual bandmates spoke English, but their entourage didn't speak English. So we were doing a lot of, well, you guys have been to Japan. That's right.
Doesn't mean we can put them up in the house.
No, I don't think I could look after them and do their sound editing and all that stuff.
Yeah, they were here about a whole month, and we were so sad when they left. We had such a lovely rapport, getting to know as much as we could about them for that length of time. Anyway, just again, the world. That's the thing. We end up getting stuck here, but it's a beautiful place to be stuck. But people come to us from all over, so it kind of feels like we've got, and especially with the B&B guests, we've had them from from the UK and from various places. Like the world comes to us, and it's you get to know people for a brief time. It's intense, and then it's like, oh, they're gone.
How do bands find you, or do you find them?
A bit of both, but word of mouth. Having been around for so long, we do. My social media skills leave something to be desired. We sponsor a lot of contests, a lot of battle of bands, and that sort of thing too. So that's good. Google,
Durham Music Awards.
So it's a good advertising. So the engineers, they'll bring in different people they work with.
We have a section, we have to rename it. We call it rapid fire, but basically it's just some questions that we always ask everybody that we interview. We call it rapid fires because it was supposed to be like impulsive answers. You just answer it as impulsively and then carry on as you want to see it. And it's usually what ends up happening is you start carrying on, and then we start diverging that conversation off into whatever you did. So like I said, we're gonna have to call it something different, but for now we're gonna call it rapid fire. So dogs or cats?
Cats.
Dogs.
Nice.
Oh,
Winter or summer?
Summer.
I guess summer, but I like winter too.
Favorite word?
Love.
Aww.
Aw. Ditto.
Good answer. Word you don't like the most?
Oh man, I don't like the most. Moist.
I was wondering if you were going to say
What did you say?
moist.
I don't know. Tax.
That's a good one. That's a good one, especially now.
We talked about your favorite band. Who's been your single favorite person in the studio?
Dave Chester.
Yeah, each other. But yeah, it's hard to say because there's been so many great. We've been really lucky. So many great people here and great staff. We've got the best engineers in the country here.
What's Dave's best quality?
Kindness.
What's Sheila's best quality?
She is open to people and accepting of people and fun.
What does Dave need to work on?
Boundaries.
He's in a place
He's really
where
kind.
there's no boundaries.
He's really kind. But yes.
Does he
Sometimes
get
too
pushed
kind.
around?
Sometimes
Does he
too
get pushed
kind.
around? Is that what you're saying?
I get
Yeah.
possibly.
Okay. What does she need to work on?
Well, she's a good micromanager. She doesn't need to work on that anymore.
I don't need to work on my detailing, my detail skills.
What's your major influence? Would it be a musician that you would think would be a type of mentor or somebody that you'd look up to, or would it be somebody who's a sound engineer?
I forgot to mention with Le Studio, the end of that story is, so Andre Perry, who started Le Studio, Sheila-Marie was watching a TV show.
A documentary.
It was in French, and she was helping. My French is pretty spotty, but hers is great. And Andre Perry, he was 86 a couple of years ago.
So he started Le Studio. So after what Dave modeled this place after was the one north of Montreal. So Andre, go ahead. So
we're watching the documentary. It was amazing. He's still working. He's still got a business. He does these high-end masters, sends them to Asia. And so we thought, geez, I got to look him up. So I looked him up, contacted him, said, Andre, we talked back in 1984 about the studio. You gave me advice. Whenever you're in town, we want you and your wife to come, and we'd love for you guys to come.
What was the advice he gave you back in 1984?
Yeah.
Don't open it. Yeah. I thought for sure.
That's right, exactly. Yeah. He got in and out before.
He saw the writing on the wall in the 70s, because they had the Bee Gees, when the Bee Gees were there recording like Staying Alive, it was shipped to China and they were making bootlegs. So he could see perfect bootleg. So he could see the writing on the wall with the music industry. So he was,
anyway, so Andre came.
But he came and
it was amazing.
And so that was like a mentor figure for me, for him to come. And this is like a very small version of what they had there. It was a massive.
But it must have felt good and I'm sure it was approved by him.
He basically said, how can you make this profitable?
Oh, no.
You can't do it this way anymore.
Yeah.
Anyway, it's just, it's a labor of love. So,
it is.
More than anything. But it was really interesting to hear the stories, because Rush would write their albums here, and then they would go to Le Studio to record them for about 2 weeks. So we got them for the bulk of the time, and then they'd go and record it at the studio, the final cut. So they had Rush stories as well as so we kind of met on that.
So it's very,
it was just lovely to see him.
He was a great businessman.
Yeah.
And I'm also inspired by like Oscar Peterson and, those people, the greats, but Gordon Lightfoot, et cetera. But
you're more musician than business. He was more business.
Yeah. So I'm music and he was more, he was a musician too. He was a drummer. But for me, it's about the music and trying to make great art, great connections with people. And that's why I do it. But, so I could improve on my business skills, I think. But anyway, we're still here.
If there's one person who's alive who you'd like to spend some time with and pick their brain and have a coffee with, who would it be?
Oh, wow. Musician-wise?
Anything-wise.
Anything-wise. Oh my. There'd be so many to type. Dave. Over to Dave. Let me think about this.
Apart from Jesus, Shakespeare.
Well, they're not alive. No, somebody who is alive.
Who is alive.
Yeah.
Barry Gibb.
Why Barry Gibb?
Oh, I'm just laughing.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah. It's I get my inspiration from reading and from books, and then but anybody who comes here is a success in my view, because they've taken their dream and they've actually said, well, okay, I'm going to take the risk of actually trying to do it, as opposed to just being in my head, I'm going to actually do it. And that's huge, right? If you can make it to this level where you're ready to actually put yourself on the line. And in this business, it's a business of dreams, and it's a business of delusions too. Like a lot of people have this idea that they're rock stars or whatever, and that's great in your head. But when you actually get to do it, then it's like reality, kind of hits. And so if they can get to this level and do that, they're my heroes. So I just love working with the people that come here.
And someone who has passed away who you'd like to spend some time with?
Oh gosh, again, it's like trying to narrow that down. My mom. I would say my mom, rest her soul. She was a lovely opera singer and force to be reckoned with, an amazing artist.
I'd love to spend some more time with your mom. She was so awesome.
She was. She did one album here, which was wonderful. We play.
What about you, Dave?
My parents checked out very, very early in life. My mom was 37. My dad was 46. And it'd be great. And my sister. And it'd be great.
A lot of tragedy.
Yeah, I'd want to chat with them for sure.
When you die, and you go to heaven.
Yes.
And what do you hope that God, or what do you expect God would say to you?
You brought in some good vibrations. I think that's what I'm here to do.
Yeah.
Fostering good vibrations
I'll go with that.
of the musical variety.
What about, what's he going to say to you?
Oh, he, she, whatever it is. Like, well, good
You
try.
missed that spot on the floor.
Good try first time. Maybe you should go there and give it another shot.
That patio still isn't fixed yet. Maybe you should go back and get that done.
That's my advice to my younger self would be, just go for it.
Yeah.
Go for it. Like,
Don't be afraid.
Yeah.
Get out of your comfort zone. We tell ourselves that every day.
How do you think your kids have benefited from this very unique lifestyle you've brought them up in?
I was just saying to Dave, so our son Drew just got back from Florida, and that's probably why I said Barry Gibb.
On the show.
So he's in several tribute bands that go around to theaters in the States as well as in Canada. And he was Barry Gibb last night, so in Florida. So he had to go on Friday morning. He had to leave on an early flight to get to Florida, do the gig. He's never played with this band before. It was like he just had to have it all together. And then it was 2,000 people apparently were in Palm Beach, so down in Miami area. And then he came back this morning. I don't know, he probably had 1 hour sleep. So Dave, I'm thinking, he came in and he talked to us. I said, how did it go? Was it okay? He said, yeah, it was trial by fire. It's like, but the fact, I said after he left, I said, he seemed really happy. And I said, if we weren't musicians, we wouldn't appreciate as much necessarily what he's doing. Like, we can so relate to what he's doing and foster or encourage him and cheer him on. And it's his thing. It's his gift to the world to go and do that. And the same with Carlana and she. They're both very musical. They finished. They grew up on the music and this weird lifestyle, as you say. It's but they're both inspired. They're both writing music. They're both recording, and their partners. Both of their partners are musical as well, and they have their own separate projects going and their own separate studios.
I think their personalities are different too. Drew is I think he's good with kind of going with the flow here, but Carlana, I think it was a lot of up and down and so I think she likes more stability.
Yeah, she's a teacher, so she likes the security of knowing what's next, whereas Drew he's a handyman and he's a musician, so he's like,
remember the one time she said, Dad, her bedroom was under another.
So this one have to be edited out.
And Dad, there was some weird stuff going on.
Upstairs and downstairs. It's like she's in between listening to things that...
Anyway, I won't say anymore.
But that's part
whatever you can imagine.
Part of the weird lifestyle.
Whatever you can imagine has happened here in one form or the other over 40 years.
Do you think that the sort of sex, drugs, and rock and roll lifestyle is different now than it would have been 40 years ago? Like, for example, if a band comes here, is there a lot less
partying?
A lot less partying than there was before. Yeah.
I think that's true.
Yeah, back in the
I think too,
day.
The fact that we live here is a big deal. So they're not going to go crazy. Whereas when we were giving the people the key and we were gone,
right?
There were no holds barred,
Where do you see your own personal music going in the next 5-10 years? You're doing Hot Air again. The Uxbridge Big Band has started up. Yes. You guys are at Boston Pizza on Tuesday nights.
Yes, we are.
Yes, that's great.
Yeah.
And are you playing in bands at all anymore, Dave?
Yeah. I'm in about 5 different bands right now. That's the other thing. It used to be one band would be enough, but it's unless you want to tour, if you want to be playing regularly, you've got to be in a bunch because the clubs now expect you to bring the crowd. Mm-hmm. So how many times will your people come to see you, right? So you have to be in a different band. So I'm in a Echoes and Icon, that's Jimi Hendrix, Doors, Janis Joplin tribute band, so we do that on the road. I'm in a disco band, a soul band, and a sort of unplugged jazz band.
That's so much fun.
It is fun, yeah. It's a lot more work now because you've got a lot more rehearsals, like for those same, but it's still fun and I love it, so...
Well, you're saying that you have to bring the people to the establishment, so hopefully this podcast will bring some people out to you. So how would someone book studio time or
B&B
accommodations?
time.
Yeah, you just go to chalet.com or chaletstudio.com or chaletclaremont.com and you can find us.
Thank you for spending this time with us.
Thank you so much.
You guys
Thank you
are
for
such a lovely
the
team.
honor.
It's so nice to be around a team who just play off each other and enjoy each other. And obviously I think your teamwork has allowed you to be so successful.
Well, and you
And
guys
likewise,
too. Oh my God.
look at this team.
Jennifer, you've
Amazing
been
team.
amazing with all your
Yeah.
bands and singing. Great singer. And Scott, it's great to hear about what you've been up to and everything.
She puts up with me.
That's a-
Well, and we
team, it's a huge part.
we're all
You're absolutely
reinventing
right.
ourselves a
Yeah.
little bit, and you got into doing the podcasting, and just I got into doing video productions, and then we're doing B&B, and it's like you just have to keep.
Oh
on.
yeah, we do editing. I help him with video editing as well, and I'm an editor because of my detailing skills. So
Micromanaging.
micromanaging. Oh yeah, that's
No,
the pejorative
She's a good
word for
editor.
it.
That's her strength.
Yeah.
She's great at it.
But it's the teacher in me that.
So my advice to everybody: just go for it. Try not to get bogged down too much by negative. Just kind of try to follow your passion. as
Live
much
the
as you
dream.
can.
Mhm.
Well, thank you for sharing your passion with us. This has been so much fun.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
We're just beginning our 4th year of doing this podcast. And over the 4 years, we have gone to Rutledge Jewelers. We have gone to the Roxy. We have gone to Passionate Cooks Essentials. We've gone to Second Wedge. This podcast has become increasingly expensive for us just because of the fact that we're shopping and buying. And I got to be honest, there's part of me that really wants to go and stay in the bed and breakfast.
It's beautiful. It's so lovely. And one of the things I want to make sure our listeners know is that Uxbridge has one of those funny situations where we don't have a hotel, we don't have a motel, and people complain that there's no B&B opportunities or anything like that. But just south of town, there's this gorgeous facility. And in fact, we had said if we had known about it, I did know about it and it just didn't even cross my mind. If I had actually been smart enough to remember that they ran that when we got married, I would have had our guests stay there.
Yeah, we just think of it as Chalet Studios. You just think of it as to where you can record music. You don't think about the actual B&B part.
No, and I think that's important for people to know. So if you are not a musician, you have no interest in recording or anything like that, but you're going to have people come and stay for something, check them out.
What a great team. I know you mentioned that in the interview, but we've interviewed Christoph's, we interviewed Rob and Joanne at Second Wedge. You and I really like when you can see a couple that are working together and they complement each other, and even the way that they describe, well, she does this and I do this. It's so neat to look at a couple that works so well together. And why wouldn't you want to stay with a couple like that?
Their energy is so awesome. Just chatting with a mutual friend of ours who happened to say, when she comes into the room, she can make anybody feel like the Queen of Sheba. She's just so positive. And so her answer when she said that she hopes God says to her that she brought good vibrations, my goodness, has she ever. But yeah, the two of them are just so fantastic together. And it wasn't without risk, right? Huge financial risk to be able to take those steps to remortgage their house to bring Rush to their studio.
Yeah, but what a great success story. You look at somebody who took a gamble, and even when Dave's saying, if you really feel like you've got something, go take the leap. And I'm paraphrasing obviously what he said, but at the same time, I like the whole interview. We got to see the bed and breakfast, we got to see the studios, we got to talk to such an amazing couple, and even his inspirational words of, take the leap. I love it.
Take the leap. I think maybe you and I'll just take a weekend and head on down there and
it's a nice sauna.
Stay in the sauna. Yeah. Thanks, Dave and She, for spending the time with us. We really enjoyed that time with you.
And I got to also say thank you to everybody who's listening and our regular listeners. We are totally breaking the rules on how to make a podcast popular by going sporadically with an episode. All I can say is when we started this was during COVID, there was a lot of time on our hands. So now we have a lot less time. So we appreciate everybody's patience as far as waiting for interviews. And we love your positive feedback. Anybody that tells us that they're listening. And I share your frustration and how fast these episodes are getting out, because we're the ones that have to do them and we're the ones that have to edit them. And so again, thank you very much for listening. And again, thank you to Dave and Shay. This has been a Camsel Broadcasting production. If you're wondering why it's taking so long to get episodes out now, well, now I've got to figure out how to edit them in a sauna.